November 4th. Never in my life did I look forward to, yet dread a day so badly. November 4th was the day that I would either be the most disappointed or relieved person on the planet, because November 4th was the day of the anime finale of Attack on Titan. I looked forward to it because I'm probably the biggest Attack on Titan fan on planet Earth, and I've been excitedly waiting for the finale ever since they started titling Attack on Titan seasons as the final season. But I dreaded it because of all the controversy surrounding the ending when it came out in a manga. I had rarely ever seen people be so upset at any ending in fiction, save maybe Game of Thrones. The internet's response to AOT's final chapter scared me, but I stayed in my faith that Isayama would execute the ending of his story just as flawlessly as he had proved to execute every other part of it. I was convincing myself that the people hating on the ending maybe just didn't understand what Attack on Titan was really about. Just like any other fan, I had obviously seen spoilers here and there, but overall the way things would eventually play out was still up to my imagination, and I believed in my man Isayama. And then November 4th arrived. I deleted all my social media for the day to avoid spoilers and watched the hours slowly tick by, minute by minute, waiting and waiting until I could finally experience this controversial finale for myself. And knowing that I'd only ever be able to experience this finale to one of the only 3 shows I'd rate a 10 out of 10 once, I decided to record my reaction to it, and, well...
What the heck? Oh my god! No! Fuckboy Eren, what the fuck? Okay!
I loved it, personally. Now, I think I have to address this video's thumbnail and title for a second. I tried leaving the phrasing of it up to both the interpretations that I either think the ending is dumb or that I think the hate on the ending is dumb. I did this because I wanted the 2 opinionated groups to convene and maybe compromise in this video, because here's the shocker, I feel both ways. When I first watched the finale, I obviously loved it. I thought it made sense, I thought it was cathartic, the action was hype, and the final message the show left us with felt incredibly fitting given the themes that always ran through the core of the story. Then I read the manga, and I immediately noticed major differences between the anime version and the manga version in the scene that I knew a lot of people hated when it first came out. And I will say the anime version made some crucial improvements on that scene. Still though, I didn't think the ending was that awful, and I still didn't understand why people hated it so badly, so I decided to go on an investigation into the hate on Attack on Titan, wanting to understand the people who disagreed with me, which in retrospect I can say is a very frustrating cause. However, I did it nonetheless, and I do it again because, as Tim Minchin once so eloquently phrased in his 5th life lesson for his graduation speech,
5. Be hard on your opinions. A famous bon mot asserts that opinions are like assholes, and that everyone has one. There is great wisdom in this, but I would add that opinions differ significantly from assholes and that yours should be constantly and thoroughly examined.
I started by watching FD Signifier's video on Eren Yeager's character, because he's a video essayist who I've been following for a while and I hold him in high regard. And I thought his video was good, but I felt like it was more about toxic anime character tropes as a whole rather than Attack on Titan itself, so I figured I had to delve deeper. I wanted to see why other people didn't like the ending or what criticisms people had, and I thought I'd maybe find like a couple of well-formulated video essays, shitposts, or Twitter threads on what people disliked about the show. But I did not expect entire YouTube channels dedicated just to hating on Attack on Titan. And not just YouTube channels, but subreddits, 4chan threads, entire communities built around that single shared sentiment: hate for Attack on Titan's ending. And you know what the worst part is? They make some very fucking good points. Initially, I just wanted to call them all idiots who didn't understand Attack on Titan. However, as it turns out, they all understand Attack on Titan very deeply actually. Some among them maybe even more deeply than myself. And I watched the show and read the manga like half a dozen times. Points ranging from that Isayama took away Eren's agency at the last minute to explaining why Ymir is a badly written character. They're by no means baseless arguments. So after watching these videos, after reading these threads, after looking at these memes, after observing all the hate on Attack on Titan and understanding the arguments, I came to a conclusion. At a certain point, really only one thought kept going through my mind over and over, and the only thing I could think while watching these Attack on Titan hate posts was: waar maak je de kutten u zelfs druk om? Which roughly translates to, what are you goofs even worrying your silly little heads over? Like, okay, you didn't like the ending. That sucks. I'm sorry, but you know you can just move on, right? You don't have to make it your life's mission to convince the rest of the world that it's bad. Like, what? Did Attack on Titan take something from you? Some of y'all are so persistent in your hatred that you think Isayama killed your entire family and ate your pet or something. I've seen some of the most hateful yet entertaining rhetoric thrown against this man in these video essays. Some of my favorites being that he's a hack writer and that he succeeded by accident, whatever that means. But one sentence that annoyed me the most when I heard it the first time is that, quote, Attack on Titan's ending ruins the entire story, and now you can't go back and rewatch it and still enjoy it, which is like, really? All of it? These final scenes ruin all of Attack on Titan for you. Does that include all the mind-blowing plot twists that have been built up to with carefully thought out foreshadowing visible at even the most minute details? Does the finale also ruin great characters like Erwin, Zeke, Grisha, Flock? Like, I understand if you dislike how Eren's character turned out, but you can't deny Attack on Titan is still a story that thought out amazingly epic concepts, such as the ideas of fighting titans with ODM gear, for example. It's probably one of the most original spins on battle action from this decade. And no, maybe the end of Attack on Titan doesn't tie up every character and plotline as flawlessly as it's done before, and I can understand that people can be frustrated if they feel that Isayama maybe retconned a lot of plot points at the other final stretch of the show. However, what kept going through my mind watching all these videos and all these arguments that I may or may not agree with was, why aren't you guys focusing on all the things that AOT got right? Serenity, Odin, Saint Chief, these people have such an extensive knowledge of this series, and I would be so down to watch a video of them just deconstructing what they do like about Attack on Titan, or why they got into Attack on Titan in the first place. Like, all of this knowledge you have on the story must have initially come from a place of passion for it, right? I'm telling you, if any of these guys would make a positive video essay on AOT where they just target the parts that they like or liked about the show without having a but at the end of it, they would make some of the most entertaining, well-constructed video essays this platform has seen, and I'd watch them. I think all I'm trying to say is said way more efficiently in another excerpt from Tim Minchin's graduation speech in his 7th lesson.
7. Define yourself by what you love. I found myself doing this thing a bit recently where if someone asks me what sort of music I like, I say, well, I don't listen to the radio because pop song lyrics annoy me. Or if someone asks me what food I like, I say, I think truffle oil is overused and slightly obnoxious. And I see it all the time online, people whose idea of being part of a subculture is to hate Coldplay or football or feminists or the Liberal Party. We have a tendency to define ourselves in opposition to stuff. As a comedian, I make my living out of it. But try to also express your passion for things you love. Be demonstrative and generous in your praise of those you admire. Send thank you cards and give standing ovations. Be pro stuff, not just anti stuff.
However, I think an even more accurate commentary on Attack on Titan's ending would be that of Isayama himself, which he voiced through the final chapter of Attack on Schoolcasts in the final pages of the last Attack on Titan manga booklet. If you don't know what Attack on Schoolcasts is, it's basically an alternate universe where all the characters of AOT are placed in a modern setting. And in this final chapter of Attack on Schoolcasts, Eren, Mikasa, and Armin go to watch a finale to a movie series themselves. And Mikasa and Armin bicker about whether the ending of the movie was good or bad, so they ask Eren for a conclusive opinion that'll settle the argument. However, instead of giving a debate-settling opinion, Eren just says that he liked watching a movie together with them. Eren may be an idiot, but at least he's smart enough to just let himself enjoy a piece of fiction regardless of everyone else's convoluted opinions. And you know what? Despite the fact that he may be a genocidal maniac, Eren is real as hell for that. Because after having watched dozens upon dozens of analyses on this show, whether they were positive or negative, whether they were good or bad, and now after having made a video myself, whether it was positive or negative, whether it was good or bad, I did come to a single unwavering conclusion. Whether you hate Attack on Titan, whether you love it, there is one undeniable truth. When Attack on Titan ended, some were filled with pride, some were filled with hope, and some were filled with rage, but all of them screamed. I've seen arguments on how Isayama is a genius. I've seen arguments on how he should kill himself. I've even seen arguments on how he fucked up the ending, but brilliantly enough did it on purpose. And all of these opinions made me confident in my conviction. Whether the ending of Attack on Titan itself was positive or negative, whether it was good or bad, it actually doesn't even matter. Because Attack on Titan is a story that will never be forgotten. What a nice video. What a good video. If I was a viewer watching this video right here, I would consider subscribing. Anyway, here's a poem. Poem number 75. Bark, bark, bark. To be a dog, to bark up trees, to bite in sticks and to bed at stem. I like to believe dogs love trees because they bark back at them. It's a little pun for you. If you want more poems, I've got a poetry book. Link is in the description. And you know what? Serenity, Odin, Saint in Chief. If you make a video essay just being positive about Attack on Titan, now brace yourself for this one. I will give you one of these for free. That's right. Free signed copy of my poetry book. Anyway, that's about it for me. See ya. One more thing.